to the Heart of Bastrop Talk Show. I'm TJ Finn.
And I'm Connie Schrader, the mayor of the city of Bastrop.
We have a fun show today.
Very creative,
It
very
is.
artsy.
I can't believe it's already season 4, episode 6.
It's happening fast.
It is. It's spinning by on us. So today we're with Bastrop Christian Church talking about preservation.
You have to take care of those iconic buildings.
Absolutely. And then meeting with a local artist, Barbara Ann Guitierrez. I can't wait for you guys to see what this lady has.
With me today are two very dear friends from Bastrop Christian Church, but we're not here to just talk about the church. We're here to talk about history and preservation. I'm thrilled to introduce Jennifer Ellisor and Earl Ellisor. So tell us what you guys have going on.
Well, go ahead, Jennifer. Talk a little bit about the history of the church.
Okay, so we, Earl and I are on the Historic Preservation Committee, and this came about because our iconic church was built in 1895, and it's such a jewel of downtown Bastrop and has quite a history. Recently, during the pandemic, we had our 125th anniversary, and we collaborated with the Historical Society. We had a quarterly meeting at the church. Earl did an amazing job writing the church history and presenting that night. We also, out in the church garden, one Sunday after church, had singing by our quartet, and we even passed out individually wrapped, so they were COVID safe, the 1895 fruitcake recipe that the women of the church made fruitcakes to raise money for the church pews that we still sit in today.
And as I was just explaining to Connie, the preservation committee that we formed is seeking to become more of a community committee, not just a church committee. The building is, as Jennifer just said, is an iconic structure in Bastrop's profile today. If you walk downtown, if you drive through it, if you look at the bank, the mural that's in the First National Bank, the church actually appears multiple times through the history of Bastrop as it's evolving. A couple of years ago, in 2018, we recognized the need to put a new roof on the church. That began the effort that we're currently underway of restoring the church, because there's so much damage that's been done mainly by weather and by age. Last year, we commissioned an architectural firm from Austin, Hudson and Gallagher, that specializes in historic buildings, and they did an assessment of the church and came up with a plan, a set of things that we need to address. It's rather intimidating, and we've begun working on that with the resources that we have that the church has put aside over the years, but we've really reached the end of those resources. And the two main things that out of the long list of items that they gave us were, the roof was first, so it's really 3. The stained glass windows, which are a premium point of the church. If you go into it or you see it from outside, that's something you notice right away. They are cracking and tilting and moving. They need to be all taken out and restored. That's underway with the funds that we have. We can do maybe 1/4 of those with the funds we have. And then there's some structural damage in the foundation of the church and in the attic with the 126-year-old timbers. So those are the things that we as a committee are addressing, both in having the work done correctly with structural engineering work and so forth, but also raising the funds to get this done so we can save this church, this building.
So some of our viewers may be visiting Bastrop for the first time. So what's the church address?
Oh, it's 1106 Church Street.
Don't you love it? In Bastrop, the church is on Church Street.
And I will say, historically, when I did the history of the church, that has not always been the name of that street. That street was originally called Diagonal Street for whatever reason. And they changed it to Church Street. We're the only church on that street, so I guess it's named for our church. Yeah. I mean, there are some very nice antebellum homes a couple of blocks down the street. If you drive through Bastrop, you'll certainly know that address. So if you have an address on Church Street or Main Street, you know what kind of a
Pecan Street.
So those are the streets that run along parallel to Main and really have the older homes on it.
And it's also very recognizable because it's been in a couple of movies.
It has. The one that I like best, and I would recommend people, especially with it's children friendly, is called When Angels Sing. Harry Connick Jr., Lyle Lovett, Connie Britton, and Willie Nelson has a spot. It's a great little fun holiday movie. Our church is featured in it a couple of times. And there's been a couple other movies that didn't get as much play as that one has, but that's excellent. The church has also been recognized by artists and photographers who are coming through Bastrop or who come to Bastrop. They come and ask us if they can paint the church. We have paintings and sketches that they've done. We have photographs they've done. It's also a very frequently used venue for destination weddings. We've had weddings, of course, locally. We have local weddings, but we've had many weddings that come from out of town. And
people want the iconic little, white church in the small town.
Yeah.
So that's part of the point of our program and of the community. Earl, like you were saying, it's going to take the whole community to take care of it. It's a fairly small congregation,
Yes.
and although they're a committed congregation, it's also important to know that there's been a number of congregations that have gone through that church. The church has been very welcoming to other denominations if they needed a place to meet there. So it's not just the Bastrop Church that has utilized it. I know that my husband went there as a Lutheran when he was a youngster. So there's all kinds of people that have a connection to that church. So if people are interested in donating or serving on your committee, who should they contact?
Well, actually, the contact Jennifer and we're going to have it on the crawl space. When you see this video, we'll have a phone number, we'll have a website, and also we have an email address that you can contact us at. But we're the main contacts right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We appreciate you sharing with us about the church, and I know you can count on our viewers to help you out.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank
this
you.
has been very pleasurable and
thank you for your time.
You
Yes.
bet.
The 2022 Bastrop County Buyers and Builders Convention is now open for vendor registration. This two-day event is held September 17th and 18th at the Bastrop Convention Center. Bastrop County has experienced unprecedented growth and development. If you're part of this booming industry, this is not a show you'll want to miss. Go to our website at thebcboa.com to sign up. Sponsored by the Heart of Texas Chamber and Visit Bastrop. Garage Oil Spirits American Badass Whiskey presents the Sizzling Summer Nights Concert Series, June 18th, July 16th, and August 20th at Community Gardens in Bastrop, Texas. The series kicks off with American Idol's Bo Bice with performances by Jay Edwards and local artist Winter Dawn. Check our lineup and get your tickets now at sizzlingsummer.com. So we're here today with local artist Barbara Ann Guitierrez, and her work is amazing, guys. I'd love for you to tell everybody how you kind of got your start and what's your inspiration.
I've been drawing my entire life. I started painting about 10 years ago. I've always wanted to paint, always. I just didn't have that drive to try until 10 years ago when I moved here. Actually, Bastrop was my inspiration.
How about that? I love it. I love it. I've seen some of your work and it's amazing. We're going to show some images across the stream so other people can kind of get the feel for it. But what would you say is your favorite thing to paint?
People.
People. You love people.
Oh, see, I would think that's super hard. That would intimidate me.
My mom just started painting and she cannot paint a person in her life to paint.
I think I have a lot in common with your mom.
I love it. I love it. Well, you know, I also paint. I'm not as good as you are, but I love to paint. It's very relaxing for me. There's a therapeutic, especially during the pandemic. Boy, my whole walls, my house looks like a art museum right now. Maybe not a good art museum, but it certainly looks like an art museum. But I found that I find painting it helps me de-stress, and I painted a lot during COVID.
So did I.
You did as well.
What did you find yourself painting during COVID? Was it people or was it places?
I did anything and everything. Like whatever I could come across, whatever anybody suggested, I would paint it. It's just, I love to paint. It's not just, I have to paint a person or I have to paint a tree. It's just anything.
So if people have an area of their home and they're looking for a particular painting, you'd be willing to help them out? And how would they get hold of you?
My email,
Which is?
guiterrezbarbaraann@gmail.com.
All right, and we'll have that on the
We'll
scroll
definitely have
too.
that up where you guys can see that. So tell us, what is your medium? Do you have a preferred
Acrylic.
medium? Acrylic.
Yes.
See, I love acrylic too. And I tell you why I love acrylic, because I need that instant gratification. I will paint a layer and blow dry it with a hairdryer and go to my next layer and blow dry it with a hairdryer. I like to paint layers. Are you also a layer painter?
Yes.
You too, huh?
Yes.
I'm glad
I
to hear that.
think the more the layers, the better it looks.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, and you told me that you started with acrylics and somebody suggested you try out some oil.
My brother.
And you said, no, thank you.
No, I did not like it at all.
What did you not like about the oil?
It took too much time because you have to mix so many things together, and the cleaning process is harder, and the acrylic was just my thing.
That's fantastic. And you told me that your brother has just one eye.
Yes. And he's
So
an
art
amazing-
and creativity must really run in your family.
Yes, yes, very much so. Very much.
I'm like you, the oil, it's so much more work. Now, they say it's going to last so many more years, but now when you have all these different things you can spray across your
Yes.
acrylic canvas, it's going to last a long time as well. But the smells that are involved in the oil, and you're dealing with poisonous chemicals, whereas, when you're dealing with acrylic, most of it's water-based, and it just makes it so much simpler. What about watercolor? Have you tried watercolor?
I have not tried watercolor, but my son did, and he was
love it.
amazing with the watercolor.
I love watercolor.
I just see myself making a mess.
Oh my goodness, so your son has that creative gene as well.
Yes.
Sounds like
Oh
it's
my
going
goodness.
down in the family.
Yeah.
runs
I
in
would
the
hope. I would hope.
I love it. So one more time, tell our audience how they can get a hold of you.
Email guiterrezbarbaraann@gmail.com.
And I have to ask a question. Do you do murals as well, or right now just canvas, or would you be willing to do
I'd be
mural?
willing to do mural. I've been asked to do mural, but I haven't heard from anybody, so
Well, there you go, guys. If you have a business and you need a mural done, you know who to call. I think they're going to love your work. And I really appreciate you coming on and talking about it. So Bastrop has so many talented people, Mayor. It amazes me. Thank you so much.
thank you. Thank you for having me.